Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to do a health check on a Honda. Here we're working on 2017 Honda CR-V. As you can see, does have a number of warning lights on. So it looks like there's several things going on. So we are going to use the YOUCANIC scanner to scan this vehicle, take a look at the codes and diagnose and try to figure out what's going on with it. So we have connected the YOUCANIC scanner into the OBD2 port. And then you'll see this screen. On this screen, you want to select diagnostic. Then you'll see all the list of makes. You select, in this case, you'll select Honda. And you can select Smart VIN, which allows you to automatically detect the model. Or if the Smart VIN doesn't detect the model, you can have a list of all the Honda makes, so you can manually select Honda CR-V, Accord, Fit, whatever Honda you're working on. So then you'll come to this screen. And this screen, you're going to go to Quick Scan. And this will perform a full scan on the vehicle. It'll go through all the control units. It'll read the codes. It'll tell us if those codes are current or, if they're past or old fault codes. So let's give this a minute or so to go through all the system and scan. Here we see a map of all the modules on the vehicle. You just hit select all and then do fault scan. And then you can see the scanner is going through each module. And then it's giving us a green light if there's no fault codes, or red, and then the number of fault codes found. Now we'll be able to look at the actual codes here in a second, but let's go to system list. You can see the different control module names. You can actually see the fault codes here, but we're going to allow this to finish the scanning, and then we'll take a deeper look at the fault codes. So let's give it a minute to scan everything. So here the scan is complete. We can see the different modules that are having you go system list. And then here, what's helpful here is that you can press this blue arrow here, and then you can see the fault codes for that control module. So you can see cylinder 3 misfire. It's a code is triggered a couple of times, and then you keep scrolling, and then you can see all the other control module. ABS has failure of the control module there. See electronic parking brake says brake fluid leak or seal failure. On here on the left, you can see that the fault code, and then if you keep scrolling, you can see other fault codes, driver heater, and then there's fault codes with a VSA system. Keep scrolling, you can see the different control modules that have fault codes on them, and then further down you have the control modules that don't have any fault codes. They passed. Now if you want to dive deeper into any of these, so what you could do, for example, you can go to body, ABS control module, for example. You can select then that control unit, and then here we are inside the ABS control module. We can do a lot of things like read codes again. This is the same code we saw earlier. ECU information. This is helpful if you need to replace that ABS pump or something like that. You have the part numbers in here. You can clear the codes, but remember, you can only clear codes that are old, like they say stored their history. Current fault codes you won't be able to clear without first fixing that issue that's going on with your car. So that's important to know. Live data, you can look at things like ABS wheel speed, steering angle sensor values, and all that, and you can see them like right here. If I were to drive, start moving now, these values should change. See these numbers update as you move, drive, and so on. It's reading, for example, the brake light switch. As I press it, it switches from off to on. Then when it's reading, it's not ABS wheel speed sensor, they're having issues not sending a signal. You can see a lot of other live data here. Another very useful one is the steering angle sensor. It should be in here somewhere. That's helpful, like if you were to replace a clock spring over here on the steering wheel, you can find where that center is. So as you can see, and you can graph this data live. You can go to active test. We're still under ABS, so we can test the brake light relay, VSA motor solenoids. You can test them and activate it. And that menu is going to just be different between different makes and models and so on. But you get the idea there. There's adjustment. You can release the electronic parking brakes, for example. So you can replace the rear brake pads. And then there's special function. Reset the VSA threshold. So this is just the ABS. So if you went into another module, then you're going to see different fault codes. You're going to see different live data, different functions for that module. If we were to go to the transmission, it'll be completely different because, the transmission is monitoring different sensors in there. But this is how you can run a full scan on a Honda using the YOUCANIC scanner. so you can see what's going on. What I would recommend is a report. If you hit report, you can save it, print it, email it, whatever you like to do. And once you're done with that, I would say erase it, erase all the codes. It'll go through and erase all full codes that are old. Any codes that are not fixed or they're current, they're gonna, as soon as you restart the car, they're gonna show up again. Sometimes you might have to drive for a couple of driving cycles for some full codes to show up, so you might need to drive for a day maybe or two, and then you rescan. At that point you'll have a list of the codes that came back, and those are issues that you need to address and fix, and not worry about, you know, those store codes, because a car that hasn't been scanned and those codes haven't been cleared for a long time, they usually have a lot of modules that have codes, and there's just old codes that might have been triggered. Maybe battery was weak at some point or things of that nature, and they're codes that often you don't need to worry about. They're not active. They're just an issue that might have happened in the past. So it is okay to clear those. The only time I would not clear the codes is if you have a car that's like under warranty, or you have a mechanic that's been working on your car and they need to see the codes. Then in that case, I wouldn't clear the codes. I'll just leave them there and have them, you know, take a look at it. But besides that, if you're doing your own work, clear the code, save the report, clear the codes, drive the car for a couple of days, then rescan, and then you'll have a lot fewer codes to focus on and troubleshoot. So that's all. That's how you can use the YOUCANIC Scanner to troubleshoot Honda vehicles.